So I'm going to share a formula with you that I think has a lot of value. And there's a book written by a professor out of Pepperdine University called Character is Destiny. The first statement is one that we all kind of understand. If you sow a thought, you reap an act. You sow a thought, you sow thoughts of anger, you reap acts of anger. You sow thoughts of love, you reap acts of love. You sow thoughts of jealousy, you reap acts of jealousy. And so we sow those thoughts and we reap acts. The second step is if you sow an act, you reap a habit. As you sow an act, you reap a habit. I remember, beginning out sowing thoughts of honesty. I'm an honest human being and always followed through on my commitments. So I'd sow that thought, and gradually and incrementally, honesty becomes a habit. And I was driving down to Oregon one time, and I stopped at a smoke shop, because at that time I smoked cigars. Now people have gotten me to stop dang near everything that is enjoyable. Few things I still do. I got to have a pill, but I mean that is. But anyway, we stopped to buy some cigars, and I went in to buy some cigars, and I gave the guy my credit card, and he ran the credit card receipt, and I bought about $40 worth of cigars, and went over to meet my wife for lunch, and before we was driving down to Oregon, and I just happened to look at the credit card receipt, and the guy only charged me $12. So I went back to the smoke shop. When I finished lunch, I said, we got to swing by the smoke shop because the guy made a mistake. Then I went in, I gave him the receipt, and I said, you made a mistake. You only charged me $12. It's about $40 worth of cigars. So he corrected, and he said, I really appreciate that. Thank you a lot for coming back. He said, a lot of people wouldn't have done that. I didn't tell him this. There is no option. Honesty isn't just when it's convenient. Honesty is a habit, just as much as dishonesty is. Honesty is a habit. I don't know how not to be honest. You sow a thought, you reap an act. You sow an act, you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reap a character. You sow a habit, you reap a character. Now the character in this format would be called a self-image. It's who you are. So you sow the act, you reap a character. You sow the character, you reap a destiny. You sow the character, you reap a destiny. But when you come back full circle, it all starts with the thoughts that we sow. And so when you start planting seeds and people start understanding that they do have some control over what they think about, and you start sowing those thoughts, the acts start happening, and so you sow thoughts. I am really creative at catching people doing things right. And so you just start sowing that thought, and you walk through the plant, and just all of a sudden something gets through your awareness that somebody's doing something right, and you stop and say, God, I really appreciate the way you did that. And it just becomes a habit. So coming back one more time, you sow a thought, you reap an act. You sow an act, you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reap a character. You sow a character, you reap a destiny. But it starts with the thoughts that we sow. And that's a habit. The way that we think is a habit.